Welcome to a lesson with Dr. Powell. Let's talk about how we can solve this system of equations using the process of elimination, where we strip the variables off and we just kind of think about this as being 2, 3, 4, 3, 5, 7. And then we use positions of the coefficients as thinking about like terms when we're adding or subtracting equations from each other. All right, so we'll go with this. Now, what we'd like to do is end with something that looks like 1, 0, something, 0, 1, something, because this would be like, this means x and 0, y. So x plus 0, y, so x equals something. And likewise, this would be like y equals something. So we're going to be adding rows, which is like adding equations together in such a way such that we get this. Now, specifically, what can we do? Well, we can divide a whole equation by something. That's fine. We can add two equations together. And when we do that, we keep one of the equations that we were adding, and the other equation is the result of the operation between them. We can subtract equations in the same basic way. Let's go for it. And we could also kind of do a combination of things, like take one equation, multiply it by something, and then add it to something else. And that thing is replaced, and this other guy stays there. Let's go for it and see what we can do. Okay, the first goal is to get a 1, 0 column to look like this. So we want to get this happening first. Then the second goal is to get this happening. Now, in each column, we first get the 1 into position, because then we use that 1 to play against the other guy that's not 0 to make it 0. So let's go for it. All right, how are we going to get a 1 into position from here? Well, let's see. What if we multiplied this row by -1? I have to do it to the whole row. Why are we doing that? Because think, if we add that down here, that would become a 1, right? So let's see. So we have 2, 3, 4, but when we did something to this guy, and so we're going to have -2 and +3 is 1. So there's a 1 showing up. -3 plus 5 is 2. -4 plus 7 is 3. So we just took this equation, multiplied it by -1, and added this guy, and replaced this one, and we left the other one alone. Of course, to get a 1 in position now, why don't we switch these? That's something else we can do. We can switch the order of our equations. So maybe next, let's switch the order. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. All right, great. So we got our 1 into position. We're almost done with the first column. We just got to get a 0. How do we get it? Well, let's think. If we take this row right here and multiply it by a -2, see, 1s are nice because you can multiply them by the negative of whatever you want to get rid of, and then it just will become 0. Multiply this whole row by -2. So -2, -4, -6. Then just add down to those guys. You get 1, 2, so between steps, 1, 2, 3, and then we get a 0, -1, and a -2. Wow, look, we just got this guy looking like it should. So we're done with that first goal. Now we move to the second goal. The first thing we need to do in the second goal is to get the 1 into position. Now, here, there's maybe only one thing we can do to get the 1 into position. We wouldn't want to take this row and add it down, because that would turn this guy not to be a 0 anymore. Whatever we do, we want to make sure that our steps don't interfere with previous steps. This goal right here should remain. We shouldn't change this at all, no matter what we do. So we don't want to multiply this by something and add down. Nah, and we don't double check. That would not, we want to keep this the same. But what we can do is we can divide this whole row right here by a -1. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Then we have a 0, 1, 2. We just divided it by -1. Okay, great, because we have a 1 in position now. Now we can use this one to play up against what's vertical from it, up and down. If we multiplied this whole row right here by a -2, that would get rid of that. Notice, multiply 0 by -2, it's just 0. 1 by -2 got -2. 2 by -2 get -4. And then just add these guys to those. So then we would have on the top, so we're going to keep the bottom in the step. Then on the top, we would have 1, 0 as desired. The negative, so what we're doing, 0 plus 1, -2 plus 2, -4 plus 3, so -1. Then we have a 0, 1, 2, that row stayed the same. And look, we're done. We just arrived at this, and we can see that x is -1. So the top equation is x is -1, translating it back to this form. And then the bottom one is y equals 2. Written as an ordered pair, that would be -1, 2. And we've just solved the system by using elimination with a matrix of numbers. Thanks for watching.